Welcome to Surfside Stories. I am so happy today to have in the studio with me one of my very best friends in the beach music field. And most of you that know us know we play golf once or twice a week. Met him back a number of years ago when he was playing with a band that we'll talk about shortly. He's got quite a life and quite a history in the world of beach music. We know what he's doing now. He's with one of the big bands right now, like he's been for years and years. But I want to know, Jeff, how did you get started in music? What was the first time you sang or first instrument you played? Tell us how you got into music.
Well, I appreciate it, Wayne. Thanks for Ocean Drive Productions and
Thank
you having me on the show. This is awesome.
Thank
And
you.
I'm real proud of it.
Hey,
Man. Real proud of
I'm
it.
happy for you to be here, bro.
Well, I guess, I started really young. I had brothers that played music, and so I started watching them play their little combos back then. That's what they called them back then, combos. So about 4 or 5 years old, I got my first little drum, and I started beating it and driving my neighbors and my mom crazy and everything. And then I guess gospel music, I started playing in the church when I was around 13, 14 years old. So
Okay.
I started playing in the church. That's how I got to being, playing in front of people
Yeah.
and that sort of thing. And then when I was 17, I graduated from high school and college wasn't my thing. So I went on the road. I played in what they call a little Holiday Inn band. We were a 4-piece band called High Degree. And just had a great time out on the road. Mom and Dad said, "Get it out of your system." And
And what was the name of that band again?
That band was called High Degree.
High Degree.
High
Okay.
Degree. And it was, we were just a Holiday Inn top 40 band.
Okay.
I wasn't into beach music yet, and then it went on, and I joined a band called Special Occasion Band in the early '80s. And Gary Warren and I started that band. Gary Warren is an original member of the Band of Oz. He started with
Okay.
those guys. He went to school with Hicks and Houston and all those guys.
Okay.
And so we both had careers. I was in the car business. He was a stockbroker. So we started a local band in Winston-Salem called Special Occasion Band. They're still together now. And they go by SOB. And
Okay.
but they played down here, and they're a really good band. I was with them all through.
Quick.
Yeah.
Did you plan it that way when you named it Special Occasion Band?
No.
SOB?
No, I did not plan for it. But that's what our koozie said.
Okay.
And it seemed to kind of fit.
Yeah.
Watch it.
I said nothing.
I was kidding. But Gary and I, we're like brothers. And so we had that band, through my kids growing up and everything. And then how I got into beach music was I was still with Special Occasion Band. And unfortunately, Don Tatro with the Fantastic Shakers had a heart attack. And he was okay at that time, but he just didn't want to play anymore. So Freddie Tripp called me. And that's when I got into the real beach music scene, was with the Fantastic Shakers.
Okay, then what instrument did you start
And I
with?
started with drums. I started with drums with the Fantastic Shakers.
Okay.
And just had a great time with those guys. And that's really kind of how I got into beach music.
Now, who all was in the Shakers at the time? Can you?
We had Chris Jennings, who is now with Band of Oz. He was a guitar player. And old Doug Winstead.
Oh yeah.
Crazy Doug, love him to death. He was playing bass guitar at the time. We had Jeff Swafford on trumpet. John G was playing trombone. John G is a great musician. Played the Breeze Band, and just a great musician. Of course, Freddie Tripp on keyboards, and of course Bo Schrantz out front doing his thing. And see if I left anybody out. I think that was it. Yeah.
That sounds good. Yeah, sounds like everything I can think of there.
Yeah.
That's a good group.
Yeah, it was a great group and got a lot of experience, and played with them about 3 or 4 years. And they were kind of winding down a little bit. They stayed around a couple more years after I left, but I went on and played with a band called the Blackwater Band.
And that's where you were when I met you.
That's correct. And had a great time, Dale and the guys, and had a great time with them. I actually played trombone with that band.
That was my next question. Okay. How long were you with Blackwater?
5 years, a little over 5 years. COVID kind of took care of that little deal for me, and we kind of slowed down during the COVID years. And so I just kind of moved on into another direction after that. But I had nothing but great things to say about Blackwater, nothing great things to say about Bo and Fantastic Shakers. I mean, just a great experience. Met a lot of people through those bands, and really got to know all those guys.
Well, now, were you with Blackwater in, I think it's 2018 Band of Oz cruise, and Blackwater's the second band on the group.
That's correct. That was a fun cruise.
Yes, it was.
Bo didn't want to go on cruise. He wasn't big on cruising, but we talked him into it, and we had a great time on that cruise. And it was kind of a bucket list for me too, because I had the opportunity. We all kind of got together and jammed, and Big John Thompson was on that cruise, and a lot of the older members of the Band of Oz.
Yes.
I got to go up and play drums, and my big thing is I got to play Ocean Boulevard with Big John singing it.
Oh wow,
that was pretty cool. And I getting to meet all those guys.
Yeah, I remember that, but at that time we hadn't started playing golf together yet.
We hadn't yet.
Yeah, we hadn't yet.
But that was fun. I'm trying to think. Barlow, Butch Barlow, and all those guys, all the older Band of Oz members. It was just fun to get to know them, because I'd seen them all those years when I was on the road playing top 40 music. I was real young, and these guys were a little older than me. So we would go see the beach bands, around Winston-Salem and at the Guard and some of these other clubs.
Okay.
So we'd go see the Embers, for the floor show.
Yeah.
And then we thought that was real cool. And, that to us, that was the older crowd.
Yeah. Okay.
Now I'm part of the older crowd. But that's how I, was introduced to all that, was the floor shows and seeing those guys. And, bands like the Catalinas and Embers and Band of Oz and all those entertainers who I actually also played with. But that's how I got to know those guys. And then I never thought later down the line I'd be actually playing in that group of people.
Something you just said made me think of a question. And you're right. The most of the people in the beach music world now are older groups.
Right.
What do we need to do to get some younger groups started? You got any thoughts on that?
Yeah, that's tough. A lot of these bands, like Band of Oz does it. Of course, I'm with Gary Lighter Smoking Hot now, and we branch out a little bit. We do beach music in the first set. Second set, we do what they call tribute. We do some Chicago, Earth, Wind, and Fire. And we play at local on the water and places like that. The younger people kind of dig that. But they also like the beach music too. So if you can kind of blend some of that, and Band of Oz does a real good job of it. And Too Much Silly does a great job of it. A lot of these guys, the Tones, all of them. You got to put some of that younger music in there, some of that dance music in there, along with the beach music, and it introduces it to them. The Shag group, the Junior Shaggers, are going strong.
They are.
So we just got to figure out how to get that influx into the beach music scene.
I think, and
this is part of it. Ocean Drive Productions. I mean, you guys are doing a great job introducing people to that sort of thing too, and
having fun doing it.
That's right.
And having fun with these podcasts too, and getting to find out people that I've known for years, like you. And I'm just. I still didn't know all your story as long as we've been together and playing golf. Then that's what I'm looking forward to. But the other thing is that Old Soul Cole, really helped bring his crowd that he brings into his radio show.
Absolutely.
It's the young folks, and he's doing great with them.
DJ Heavy. I love his playlist in the afternoons.
Yep.
Stuff like that.
Different.
It's different, and it he mixes some of the old with some of the new, and puts some of the R&B in there, and it just, and I think it'll be okay. It's just gonna be a little bit different.
It is. I understand that he won the DJ of the Year like 11, 12, 13 times up in the Durham, Raleigh area before he moved down to the beach, and he's got quite a good history. But like I said, his selection is different. Some days it's similar.
That's right.
But whatever it is, we all get to hear something different.
That's right. And from Blackwater, I went after the COVID deal. I went with Castaways, and
about that.
Yeah, Karen and Guy. I love them to death. Karen Clayton, boy, she's something else right there.
She is.
I love her to death, and really enjoyed playing with them. And I actually had kind of 2 tours with them, but played with them. And
now, how do you say that 2 tours?
Well, it's a long drive up there in that area where they play.
Yeah.
So I had to kind of do something different, and that's when I went with Earl Dawkins and Entertainers, and I actually played keyboard with them.
Yes, I remember that.
And had fun with Earl for a while, and then I went back with the Castaways, and because I wanted to get back on the drums.
Where do the Castaways work out of?
They're out of really Roxborough, North Carolina, Henderson, North Carolina, Raleigh area. So I was driving a lot of distances to
Yes,
play.
it
A
was.
lot of their stuff was up that way.
A lot of miles on the
A lot of
road.
miles on the road. So that's when, and then when Gary Lauder had an open opportunity to play drums, that's when I took that. But I can't say anything. I can't say anything nicer than I can because I just love the Castaways. Those guys are just fantastic.
Let's step back a minute here. You started out on drums.
Mm-hmm.
The next group you were with the trombone. Then when you got over to them times, you went to keyboard, and now back on the drums again, where you started.
Yeah, and a little bit of vocals. I sang some with the Castaways, and of course with Blackwater, I had "Rock This Town." Had that.
Yeah, big hit.
Yeah, that went up there pretty good. That was kind of a bucket list for me too, because I am not a singer. I can tell you that right now. Everybody knows that.
Well, you did a great job.
But that one kind of fit me, and Andy did a great job, and Blackwater did a good job of engineering that and got it right. And I was.
Well, you got it right.
I was proud of it. I was proud of that song. So.
Absolutely should be. That's a keeper. Yeah. Absolutely. Okay, tell me about the transition into the Smoking Hot band and.
Well, now Smoking Hot. That's a funny story too, because I didn't even mention this, but I've forgotten that I did play with Smoking Hot. I played trombone with them. It was a shorter time, but I played with them between the Shakers and I think Blackwater. I did play some.
Well, I never knew that. Okay.
Yeah, I played. Dan Thomas was the drummer.
Okay.
We had Gary.
I remember Dan.
And we had a really good group. Leroy Harper. Funky Leroy. He was, he was an old James Brown guy. He played with James Brown. So I had Keith Stone on trumpet, me on trombone, and Leroy on sax. So
we were the horn section.
We were the horn section.
That's a great horn section.
And we had a great time. And so I did play with him before, but he said, "You want to play drums with me?" And I said, "I don't know. I was wanting to take a little break actually." And he said, "Well, come on, let's just try it out." And so I did. And he said, Harold, I practiced with Harold and Gary, and they said, "We'd love to have you." And I've been with them 2 years now, and just having a great time. And we've got some good songs on the radio. And one good thing I love about Gary Lauder and what we do is we play the songs that are on the radio.
Yeah.
And we do them 100% live. And I'm proud of that because it's not real easy. Some of those songs aren't real easy. And we work hard at it to make it sound good live. So
I do a great job, and I've had conversations. I go to lunch with Gary every once in a while. He and our friends, and we've had that very conversation of the difficulty of doing it live, but the results of doing it live is so rewarding.
It is rewarding, and it's like I say, sometimes might not sound exactly like the record, but it's pretty doggone close. Harold does a great job on keyboards, and we've got Eddie Gerb now on guitar. He came from the Entertainers, and got a great horn section. Of course, Bridger,
Oh yeah,
love him to death, and Art's great on the sax. And in fact, Art and I both are up for Instrumentals of the Year this year. In the same band.
Yes, you are. Congratulations on that. I wish you the best, my friend.
I appreciate it. Whoever wins will definitely deserve it. There's some good ones out there.
Yeah.
My man from River Mist, the other drummer, he's really a good player. So there's a lot of they're all good. They're all good. So whoever wins, they definitely deserve it.
Well, to get just to be a part of that list is special.
That's right.
That's right. Let me ask you a question here.
Yeah.
Now, we were talking about the horn section, and I know in today's beach music, horn section is very important. Was it as important in the older days as it is now? How would you compare?
I think so. And when I think a beach band, I'll probably get in trouble with this a little bit, but I think a beach band needs a horn section. I grew up with, chairman of the board. They were my heroes, man. They were one of the few beach bands that actually filled up the bottom part of a coliseum, and they, General was just absolutely fantastic, and they had horns. The Catalina's great horn section, the Fabulous K's, all those bands, Band of Oz, all the bands had horn sections back then. Yeah. And you just think when you think of beach music, you think of horns.
Yep, that's true.
The Tans, for gosh sake,
Yeah.
You just think of horns when you think of beach music. Yeah. Now that doesn't mean that you can't have a good beach band without horns. That's but I just think the horns really add a lot to it.
Well, every once in a while, I'll be watching one of the beach bands, and I'll hear a horn section that I do not see on stage. So they even feel like the ones that don't. they can see the necessity for a horn section. Then
Right.
that's what I'm saying, or what I'm thinking.
And there's some real talented keyboards out there, players that can put horns in and stuff. And sometimes economically, it's hard to put together an 8-piece band and go out, and get enough money to make it worth your while. So I see both ways with it, But we're lucky enough to have a really good horn section, and it's fun playing drums with a horn section too. A lot of fun.
Now, how's that different?
Well, with horns you can punch. I don't know. You remember the old big band music,
Yes.
And Glenn Miller and all that stuff. Buddy Rich. I grew up listening to him. you punch with the horns, and that just makes it fun to me. It just puts a little added spice into the music, and it just as a drummer, any drummer will tell you it's fun to play with an orchestra or a horn section or a bigger band. It's just fun.
Now you got your first drums at what, 4 or 5 years old?
Yeah.
Did you ever along the line take any drum lessons, or this is just what you developed?
I did have some drum lessons along the way. Some of the local guys that my brothers played with. My brother Bob was a very accomplished musician. He actually played with the Platters for a little while.
Okay.
He was a music major at Appalachian State, and my brother Mark was a very good keyboard player. So some of their old drummers would teach me a little bit. And then I actually went to School of the Arts one summer, and my professor was Massey Johnson, who was a very good percussion professor. So I did get a year of, what we call the rudiments, the flam paradiddles, and the paradiddles and all that stuff. So, yeah, I have a little bit of training, but very little, very little.
Well, let's move over to the trombone. I've always thought, to me, wind instruments and reed instruments are the two hardest ones to play. And how did you learn to play the trombone?
That's another funny story.
Yeah.
There's 5 kids in our family, so we couldn't really afford a lot of expensive instruments. The trombones, saxophones, those were expensive, and you had to rent them back then. So I started playing. I wanted to play in the band, and I think it was 3rd or 4th grade. They introduced you to instruments back in those days. And my brother Bob was actually a trombone player at Appalachian as well as a guitar player. And there was an old trombone in the closet. So guess what I played?
Oh, okay.
So you're going to play trombone because we have one. So I did. I started playing trombone in school and played in marching band. I played trombone all through school in marching band and concert band.
Okay.
And I played drums in the what we called the stage band back then.
Okay.
Which was the big band.
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah, I got you.
So those were the two big. And I just learned a little bit of keyboard from my brother Mark, just enough to get by. I don't consider myself a keyboard player.
Well, that was my next question. How did you work the keyboard in? Man, I thought you did a great job in your time with the entertainers with the keyboard.
Well, I appreciate it. I love boogie woogie is a big thing of mine. I love to play that kind, and Rhonda McDaniel's great at it. She does a fantastic job.
Yes, she does.
And Freddie Tripp was really good at that. And so I kind of learned I just kind of learned the blues scales and just more of an improvised type thing than anything. I don't know my chords. I'm nowhere. A Harold Smith. He's a fantastic player.
Oh, he is.
And all those guys. Jody Bundy, great player for Oz. Those are real keyboard players.
Yeah.
I can get up here and jam, but those.
But I put one of them on the drums, and you'll never get out of them.
No, don't let Jody on the wrong spot.
I'll tell him you said that.
Oh, and he was in Blackwater too. I forgot to mention.
Oh, yes, he was. I remember
when
that.
I was in the band. Yeah. Jody, he's something else.
Well, one question I like to ask is, what is beach music? Your definition. I don't know there is a written definition.
Beach music is fun. It's fun. It's a fun type of music. It makes you smile. It makes you want to just have a cold beer on the sand. That's what it's all about. And some of the older funk music was like that too. And like Kool and the Gang's a good example.
Okay.
Get your back up off the wall, dance, come on. But having fun. I think music should be about having fun, and that's what it is. And General Johnson, he did a great job of it. Carolina Girls, and Give Me Just a Little More Time. He got me dangling from a string. All that stuff. It just makes you smile when you hear it, and it makes you want to have a cold beer. and I think that's what it is. And a lot of the guys now are writing some really good stuff too. A lot of these bands, they're still writing some really good, what I consider fun beach music. So
they are. That's something that we've had discussion. In fact, I had a discussion with Rick Lee whenever we did a podcast with him, and that's one of the discussions we had about original songs that are necessary You know,
Right.
it's great to do like what I'm doing. You take cover songs from the past, redo it, and like the last one we brought back from 1973. They're
Right.
old songs. People may or may not know them, but you need that new influx of music. Two of the best are Rick Lee and Charlie Sattenfield.
Oh yeah.
And right now they're both writing some
We're
great.
doing
beat
two of
music.
his songs right now. You know,
Yeah.
and they're both on the charts. So yeah, he does a great job. And you know, a lot of the guys have written some good stuff. You know, I still writes good stuff. Tone's had a few good songs out there. Castaways, you know, Two Steps Forward, all that stuff. That's
Yes.
original. I mean, there's some good stuff out there. Gary does a good job. I mean, yeah. So there's still good music out there.
Well, yeah, I like. You guys can take a cover and make it sound original.
Yeah.
I mean, and that's a unique gift to do that.
Yeah.
Sometimes whenever y'all do come out with a new song, I listen, wait a minute, have I heard this one before? And I have to go back and listen because there's just enough influx of the new music in it that it changes.
Right.
It changes the sound.
Yeah, and Gary Louder does a lot of that too. He, you know, like the Boss Gag stuff we do, like Georgia,
Yeah.
and you know, that kind of thing. And what was that other one I really like? I Can Dream About You. That one's out now.
Yeah.
You know, we make it a little beachier or whatever, but with the horns, sometimes we'll put horns where there really isn't a lot of horns, but we'll make a horn line.
Yes.
And they do a good job at that. But it's fun. It's fun just making it your own, for sure.
What do you see going on the next few years in your music career?
Well, I'm definitely in the twilight of drumming. my joints, and David Hicks can tell you about that. And all the other drummers our age, you know, it just you feel it after a show for sure. You get a little tired and stuff. And but I love playing with. I found a band that I really like a lot. I'm local. They're local. You know, they have a nice band I can jump in when we have to travel. I don't have to go anywhere to. You know, I don't have to drive my own vehicles, but
So you cut your travel time then?
A lot. Well, I cut having to use my car.
Okay.
and I could do some sleeping along the way.
Yeah,
Too,
okay.
But we all take turns driving.
Who drives it?
We take turns.
Do you?
We all
Okay.
kind of take turns. Well, Brian Cribb is our roadie manager guy, and he also does a lot of driving too. So
Good,
shout out to
okay.
Brian. I love him to death. He does a lot of work for us, just like all those guys, you know, that do behind the scenes kind of thing. But I see myself just playing with Gary and having fun and taking the next level. You know, we played at the Greg Rolls Theater and packed it out, and that was really an awesome show.
Great crowd.
And a great crowd and fun, and so you know, I enjoy what I'm doing now, so I don't see anything different. Now, how many years I'm gonna do it, I don't know.
Well, let's do this. Take General Johnson out of the mix, and who would you say is the best guy that's been in beach music over your career?
Has to be Gary Louder. He signs my checks.
Good answer.
No, I'll tell you, golly, that's tough. Gary is one of the good ones, man. I'm telling you, that man can still sing it. And you know, people forget about Steve Owen. You know, Summertime. Steve Owen, fantastic voice. Of course, you know, Jackie Gore, Craig Willard, great voice. You know, they're two different kind of voices, Jackie and Craig.
You should play golf with the guy that had.
Tim Clark's got a decent voice, yeah.
Well, that ain't the one I'm talking about. Did you used to play golf with Paul Craver?
Yeah, Paul. Oh gosh, I might tear up talking about Paul.
Yeah.
But yeah, we played a lot of golf, and a great voice. And you know, he was pretty popular over in Europe and stuff too. It's amazing.
Well, I did not know.
Yeah, he sold a lot of CDs over there.
Really?
And J.D. Cash did too. And there's another one. And you know, there's just so many good beach music guys out there the voices. Every band had a voice. You know.
Yeah.
That they consider was, you know, Dustin with Oz. I mean, what a great voice.
Yes,
you know?
absolutely.
And
over the years, they've had Big John.
Big John
Yeah.
Oh God.
Jerry West at the time had some good songs with them. 18, 19 years.
Jeez. I remember seeing Jerry. I went to see a band. The first time I saw him was at Red's. And we were playing a wedding in Raleigh, me and Gary and the band, and we said, let's go by Red's. That was always the joke. Let's go by Red's for just a little while.
Yeah.
Well, we never stayed just a little
while. Just a little while.
So we went by Red's, and I was listening to the band a while, and then Jerry started singing. I said, oh my gosh, that guy can sing, man. So, but yeah, he does a great job. And like I say, Tim Clark. I mean, there's so many.
Well, you know,
so many.
It's amazing. We had the group rock group, Sugar Creek. We got Rick Lee out of that group, got Tim Clark out of that group, and Jerry West that made the transition to
And
beach music.
Steve. And Steve.
Yes. I tell you what, some great musicians out of there.
And Steve's voice. I mean, golly, you can't leave him out. I mean,
Now, if I signed I want drum lessons, would you give them?
no, I'm not giving you drum lessons.
No, I'm just
That was a smart answer.
if you'll give me golf lessons, I can.
Hey, ladies and gentlemen, he beats me every time we go out.
When we started playing golf, you taught me how to putt from 40 yards out.
And he got really good. Best I've ever seen that.
And, I'd be glad to teach you drill lessons, but I just drums is my first passion, and always will be.
Well, that's good to know, and I thank you for coming out today.
Oh, it's been a blast.
It's been a great story. I love hearing it, even as well as I know you. I heard things today that I did not know. The people out here are going to love it. And folks, again, thank Mr. Jeff Alspaugh for being here today. We'll have this one just a few weeks. He'll be out there, and gosh, it's going. You got a Christmas show to do, don't you?
We got a Christmas show, and we got that cruise coming up with Jim Quick.
Yes, that's
I
right.
forgot about Jim Quick and his.
Yeah.
I mean, golly, what another great band.
Another one. Yeah,
And so there's so many out there you can't remember them all. There's so many good ones. But yeah, we're taking that cruise with Jim Quick in January, and that's going to be a blast.
Yeah.
So,
well, folks, it's been great having you here with us today. Next week we'll have another one, but stay tuned to Surfside Stories. We've got a story for you every week. Thank you.
Thank you, Wayne.
Thank you, brother.
appreciate it, buddy.